Hey guys, this is Justin.
And Joy.
And Tiara.
And we have an incredible episode in store for you today.
Yeah, my dad and I got to spend a full week together completely unplugged in Northern California, and we can't wait to share it with you guys.
You don't want to miss it. It's real, raw, and uncut. Like, there is no sugarcoating. We're real about it. If you're real people, message us. Raw and uncut.
You know what I just realized? I'm not even in that intro. That's all you.
Really? You weren't.
You're the highlight of the show.
You wanting to sing. Yes.
What's up, guys? It's Justin.
And Joy.
And welcome back to another episode of Real Raw
and Uncut.
No, you got to do it the other way. Real Raw and
Uncut.
There it is.
Oh, I still got it.
You got it.
Even the sore throat.
Yeah. We're excited to be with you here again today, guys. We got a great episode in store for you. Do us a favor. If you're loving the show, go ahead and hit the subscribe button here on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform. If you're really loving the show, Joy and I would love to hear from you. Leave us a 5-star review or feel free to reach out to us through social media. Shoot us an email, or when you see us in person, let us know. And you can do your favorite Joy Ford impersonation of Uncut. I'd love for someone to walk up to us and actually do that.
To your throat?
No, not to my throat. No. But before we get into today's show, I do want to remind you that this episode is brought to you by our friends over at Next Door Lending. Next Door Lending is a team of professionals that believe everyone should be treated as if they live next door. The founders and team members have more than 150 years of combined loan experience, helping clients all over the country choose the best loan program to help you accomplish your goals. Next Door Lending is currently licensed in over 26 states and has a team of over 100 loan officers specializing in helping you get the best rate and terms. And so whether you're looking to refinance your home or you're looking to purchase your next home, call our friends over at Next Door Lending today at 888-885-3667 or visit their website at nextdoorlending.com. I think that's going to be
that was
wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah, no. Well, we're excited to welcome back our daughter, Tiara Ford, to the show.
Hey, everyone. I did not know I'll be back. Wait.
Yeah, you're
before
regular.
I leave for college, you know?
Yeah,
Yep.
a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well,
Surprise.
Yep. Well,
That's great.
You out of all the guests that we've ever had on the show, you've been here the most. So congratulations.
Maybe it might
Seriously?
be.
Actually,
No, we don't do clapping anymore.
No?
Last time you killed that clap. Remember that?
Yeah. No. Well, we're excited to have you back. And
excited to be back.
we wanted to, Tiara and I wanted to do this episode together, obviously with Joy. Last month, Tiara and I went on a journey into the mountains of Northern California for 8 days.
Justin thought it was a great idea to leave for 8 days with no phone, no nothing.
It was a great idea.
Well, we didn't think so at
It
first.
was great. I mean, I'm home.
Yeah. Joy held it down. But so anyways, I'll back up. So a couple of years ago, John Mikesh, who's in our EXP Game Changers group, posted something on his Facebook about how he had spent, a week with his daughter at this ranch called the JH Ranch in Northern California, and just talked about how amazing the week was for him and his daughter and the experience and everything like that, and just talked about how it was like the best investment that he's ever made. And I reached out to him and I said, hey man, tell me about this ranch. And he didn't tell me a ton, but he said, this is something that you have to do. It connected me and my daughter, made us so much closer in our relationship. You have to check it out. So I think I brought it up to you a couple years ago. I sent you some information, said we definitely wanted to do it. And I might have even mentioned it to Tiara at some point. I don't remember. But then for a couple of years.
No, not till
I didn't know till
a couple
few
months ago.
before. Yeah.
I don't think
sure?
you ever brought it up.
I think
to
in your
us.
mind you thought you had the conversations, but
Yeah,
then all of a sudden you're like,
probably.
boom. I'm like, wait.
I didn't know
this
you knew
year?
about it for that many years. I thought, because you just put it up on the TV one day and you're like, hey, we're going to go here. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So it was.
And I wasn't prepared at all.
Okay, so maybe I didn't bring it up, but I knew about it from 2 years ago, and I always
It was in your heart.
I wanted to take Tiara, and coming into this year, knowing that Tiara's on her way to college,
It was perfect.
basically
timing.
the ranch is where dads take their daughters or dads take their sons, and they do have another one where like moms can go with their daughters or moms can go with their sons. And I knew that with Tiara leaving, I wanted us to have this time, to go to this ranch together.
What's the name of it?
JH Ranch. And the JH stands for Johnston Hospitality, just in case anybody's wondering. And we didn't really know what to expect. And they basically like kind of prep you to come with no expectation.
Yeah. They tell you all you need to know to get there.
Yeah.
After that, you have no idea. But today we can't tell too many things. Like we can give like our experience and stuff, but we can't say too much because y'all just have to go and experience it for yourself. So we will still keep that like no expectation vibe for you guys, but we'll share what we experienced.
Yeah, because they really don't want you to know, when you go. Right. You want to go really with no expectation and just experience the week. And that's what Tiara and I did, which was interesting. But I will say this, it's a very expensive investment. And because of the cost, I almost didn't go. Because I'm like, all right, it's right in the middle of summer. It's right in the part of our busiest, portion of real estate, which is right in the middle of the year.
Kids are heading out to college.
We have we had so many financial things going on. Yeah. The cost is, $4,800 for me and Tiara total. Then you have to pay for your flights and rent a car and do all this stuff. And initially Tiara wasn't like all excited to go. So, but when I told her we probably weren't going to go, she got a little disappointed because she actually was maybe secretly wanting to go. So then like in prayer, I really felt God say, no, you need to go. And so we made the investment, and it was not just an investment of finances, but even of time. Like Tiara and I flew out. There's no direct flights to Sacramento really. And so we had to fly into Sacramento, which our flight left really early in the morning, like 7:30 in the morning. We arrive in Sacramento. Then we had a layover in Chicago, which was delayed because of a storm. Then we flew to Sacramento, and then we had to rent a car and drive 5 hours.
Yeah. It was a long journey to get there.
But can I just say that there is actually other ways to get there that have been a lot faster?
What? No. What ways?
You fly into Oregon and you drive 2 hours south.
No, because the guys that did that had longer layovers, and their travel time was actually more than ours because I asked.
Oh, serious?
Yeah.
So
same thing, because there's no direct flights into Medford, so you had to get a layover as well. So it was basically, because I had asked a few people, I'm like, oh, was it? Nope. It was like the
long
same
day
amount of
like
time.
you guys. Okay.
So Tiara and I, obviously California's 3 hours behind here in Michigan, and they say you have to check in between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. So I think we got there around 7. And by the time we got there, it was like when we looked at, maybe it was 9 or something, but when we looked at the amount of time that we had traveled to be there, it was like 14 hours that it took us. It was 7 because it was 3 hours ahead. So it was 15 hours that it took to get to this ranch. And when Tiara and I pulled up, I remember, and we even put this on video, we were like, we didn't know what to expect. We were both kind of feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah, we were both like laughing. We were like, where are we? What are we doing right now? Like,
what are we getting ourselves into? So we pull into this ranch, which is like way up in the mountains. Most beautiful place I've ever been. Because you're like, when you think of California, you usually think of like Hollywood or LA or San Diego or the beach.
You're Northern California, though.
Which is all like forest and mountains. And
beautiful.
Beautiful. And
I love that. I just wouldn't like the drive through the mountains, probably.
Yeah, because
it was beautiful though. It was a little windy.
Yeah, I wouldn't like that. And you're high and you're looking over and it's like,
yeah.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. We get out of the car and we go walk up to this.
We're like, this is it. We're like okay. I left my phone charger in there. Like we're expecting not to have phones the whole week. So we were like, all right, last picture and we're going
last
in.
Video, last picture.
Yeah, and you called me when you guys were getting ready to pull in.
Before our phones cut out because we didn't have service. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're like,
we're like, this is it.
You.
See you next week.
Like, oh my gosh.
Pray for us. So we go in and we check in, and then immediately it was basically, okay, Justin, here's your cabin with the dads, and Tiara, here's your cabin with the girls. Go get situated, and we'll see you in the morning.
Oh, it was kind of like just.
Yeah, it was like, we know you guys have had a long travel day, so you can either like mingle, like it was like the whole, what do they call it?
They have
like the
snacks
patio
for
area
you?
was like all lit up and everything.
Yeah.
So like you can start mingling, or you can just go to bed and get a good night's rest because it's been a long day. So
we
it was
didn't
like
know
really
anybody.
chill.
Then some people like knew each other because they came with other people, but Tiara and I knew nobody.
No one.
So I'm like, I'm not mingling. I'm going to bed. And so
we actually did though for a little bit. Remember?
Did we?
We put our stuff away and then we went back out because
Did
we
we?
met. Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I remember.
Okay.
We like
You
sat
met
on the rocking
somebody?
chairs and we were like talking for a little bit. Remember? You got your popcorn?
Oh, I did have
Yeah.
my popcorn.
You got popcorn out. He's gonna mingle
That's why
all
I came
night.
back because
Yeah.
I love popcorn.
That was the only night they had it too.
I was
and
so
he was
disappointed.
so sad.
I
Oh, he
looked
was
for that
probably
popcorn every night and it wasn't there.
He was like, I already like this place.
So, but when we finally did go back to our cabins, and here's the other thing that I was kind of worried about, not just not having a phone or technology, but that it was going to be like 100 plus.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was your biggest worry. You want to
I'm
hear
like-
about my worry before you guys, when
Sure.
you guys were there?
What was your worry?
There would be
Let's hear
like
it.
a huge California fire, and like you're
Oh,
like, how the heck do you get out of here?
There
Oh, really?
All I
actually
kept thinking was like, there's a
fire.
lot of fires out there. It's very hot. I'm like, oh my lord.
There was a fire, but it wasn't close to us. But they even told us, like, we did a first day walkthrough, like, hey, if there just happens to be a fire and we have to evacuate, you come to the tennis courts
Oh yeah.
because you're just north of Redding, California.
north of Redding.
Yeah.
Yep. South
Anyways,
of
that was
Oregon.
my fear while you guys were gone, and I had to like keep
Yeah.
not thinking about that.
Yeah.
I just had to completely trust the Lord. I'm like,
Yeah.
no phone, no technology, go into this ranch, and it's going to be 100. Like, that's crazy. So we get there, and when we went back to our cabins, I'll let you kind of share your part. I dropped Tiara off in her big old suitcase, and then my big old suitcase, and we walk into this cabin, and it's bunk beds.
That's pretty typical for a camp.
Yeah, I don't camp much. Tiara camps a lot more than me because she's done a lot of camps through high school. And they had me on the top bunk. They had our names.
tell the story about
They
this.
had our names like labeled on there. And I'm
Imagine
like,
Justin trying to climb on a top bunk every night.
and I tried to do that. And I remember I had a bad experience when I was a teenager. Like the bunk bed like broke and I fell down and all this stuff. And I'm like, I'm not sleeping on the top
So
bunk.
what'd you do?
So
what'd you do?
Tiara gave me an idea.
Well,
she said,
Yeah, I did. I did give you an idea, but you listened to me.
I know. What
You
was
didn't
your
have
idea?
to.
What was your
Well,
idea?
it was a good
It
idea.
was a great idea.
Well, I said, well, he said that the guy on the bottom bunk wasn't there yet. So I was like, why don't you just slide the little paper and move it, and you can
names.
take the bottom bunk and he can take the top. But we didn't know this guy was like tall. Like how tall
He
was
was
he?
an
It was
NFL
like a
player.
tall guy.
Not
So I
only
thought
was he
kinda
tall,
bad.
he was a
NFL player.
former first round draft pick
Yeah,
of the NFL.
I felt bad. I was like, oh gosh, but Dad enjoyed his nice sleep on the bottom bunk.
So I'm like, that's a great idea. And this guy was running behind, and I heard he was not there yet. So I ran into my room. I undid my bed because I had already made my bed. I stripped down my sheets. I grabbed my blankets, and I moved his name and put my name where his bed was and switched them. And then as soon as I was done making my bottom bunk bed, he walks in the door.
Dad was like, do your thing.
And I was like, and I was like, well, see you later. I'm going to bed. Good night. And he's like, oh man, they put me on the top bunk.
Nope.
And
Dad
I was
put you on
like,
the top
I
bunk.
just, I turned over and I went to sleep.
I did not-
And I
I've
was,
been
and I
laughing
knew
all night.
but a couple of the guys,
Did the
now
same
none
thing?
of us knew each other. A couple of the guys that were in there knew
Him?
that my name was on the top bunk.
Oh.
And I'm like, I wonder, I'm like, we're a bunch of old dads. There's no way
gonna,
people are going to like
tell
rat
on
me
you.
out or tell.
Right.
And so
What'd that guy do?
we woke up the next
The
morning.
guy took his mattress and put it
let
on
me,
the ground.
No, let me tell you what happened. We woke up the next morning, and this guy, the football player, was like, man, that was the toughest night of sleep I've ever had. I couldn't even fit up there, this, that, and the other. And I just kept acting like I didn't know anything.
What are you talking about?
And but the next night, he actually took his mattress and put it on the floor. And then the other guy who was on the top bunk did the same thing. And so I waited about 3 or 4 days until we were all real close and connected. And I said, I wanted to wait until I got to know you a little bit, but I wanted to just let you know that I stole your bunk. And I didn't know how he was going to react, but he said, oh yeah, no, it's all right, because it would have probably been harder to be on the bottom because you actually, your legs would have been, because there was like it wasn't like an opening. It was like,
yeah, it was like that.
it was
wall,
closed.
yeah.
So that guy wouldn't have even fit
Oh,
on the
he's
bottom.
too
At
tall.
least he could have extended his legs off the top. But he said he would have been on the ground anyway because he was really tall, like 6'7"
Yeah,
or something like that.
He was tall.
How about you? What was your experience when you first walked into your cabin with the girls?
Yeah, so when I first walked in, it
And
was
you were
only,
with all 17-year-old girls, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one girl was 18. One girl was going to be a sophomore in college. But I walked in and there was just one girl setting her stuff up. And I was like, oh gosh, like I don't know anybody.
Right.
And I'm just like, when it's first time, like I'll introduce myself. But after that, the small talk, not really about that. I just like to
Right.
get, But so I was just like, oh, hi. Like I introduced myself. And I was just like, I'm just going to get to like unpacking. So I like set my bed up and I just start putting my clothes away. And then
You had like a dresser?
It was like there were
little
shelves.
closet?
Like it was like you
Oh, okay.
open the thing and there's a bunch of shelves and like
Yep.
drawers. And so I was like, I don't want to take too much space. I don't want them to think like, I'm trying to take over.
I took 3 shelves.
So I like introduced myself to the girl, and then she was nice, but she was like setting her stuff up too. So I was just like minding my own business. And then 2 other girls walk in. So then they were like really fun, like introduce themselves too. And then I like finished my stuff up, and then we're like, let's just go like explore and like see what there is. So the setup, I mean, my experience going in, I just met
Yeah.
and I put my stuff away, and I
Yeah.
was like,
Did you guys all like
let's go see what this.
started talking?
Yeah, we started
Did
talking.
any of those girls know each other from previously?
No
or-
one knew each
Oh,
other.
that's
no.
perfect.
Nobody knew each
That's
other.
Yeah, and
great.
everyone everywhere. Like there was a bunch of states. They were from
Oh,
Alabama,
everywhere.
Mississippi, South
Tennessee.
Carolina, Tennessee,
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
California. So
Yeah, everybody
yeah.
pretty much was from the South states, like down south.
yeah.
We were the only ones from Michigan.
Yeah, everyone
Everybody
was so
kept asking us
surprised.
where
Yeah.
we were
Coast.
from. And they're like, "Oh wow, how'd you hear about us?"
Yeah.
Because the ranch has been around for 45 years, and being a Christian for 21, being around ministry and camps and stuff, I'm surprised I've never heard about the JH Ranch
Yeah.
before.
Right.
And so it was pretty interesting because their headquarters is in Alabama. That's where their main headquarters are. And then the summer they spend at the ranch. And so I'd say 8 out of 10 people are from Alabama.
Yeah, literally
Oh,
every
wow.
single person you met. And all the girls in my cabin were saying how like, oh yeah, like JH is so like well known where I live. Like all my friends have gone, or like we just know like someone like around that's
Yeah.
gone to JH. And
Well,
I was
'cause
like,
of the
really? Like
headquarters.
I have never heard. And so it was just so normal
Super-
for them to
super
like go.
popular in
And
the
I was
South.
like, I have no idea what this place is and what I'm doing here, but it was normal, so
Yeah.
it's cool.
And so we went to bed, we woke up, and obviously the change in time always causes me to wake up early. So I was up at like 2 a.m, which was really 5 a.m. Eastern time. And I kind of had to force myself back to sleep because I wasn't going to like be a zombie, because I knew that it was going to be a long,
Long
day.
day.
They had
Yeah.
a lot of stuff prepared for us. And we woke up, and they just kind of the next day was like this.
Welcome.
We did a welcome. We don't even have to.
No, we don't. I
We
don't
don't
want
need
to
to
say
s-
too
yeah.
much.
Yeah, don't say too
it was a fun time to get to know
A
each
fun
other.
welcome.
Yeah.
Fun welcome.
Yeah, they did an activity for us to get to know each other, which was really fun.
Yeah.
And then they just took us around the ranch and told us, "Hey, this is what's going to be going on, for this week." And they kind of what's awesome is they had it so like laid out. There's no like by chance, like everything is detailed and laid out strategically for what's going to happen during
Yeah.
the week. And we did have a fun activity that afternoon. They're like, "Hey, this is Lake Day. You can go on the lake." And there's like,
Tell.
"Well, you got
Can't share too much.
I won't give too much.
Okay,
So wait,
But it was
let's-
just a
I have
cool
a
time
question.
at the
So did
lake.
you have breakfast before the tour or after?
Oh, we did have breakfast.
we had it,
in
before.
the morning
Yeah.
early. Was
Yep.
it
So
good
they-
food?
Yeah, it was really good.
The whole
food.
week was such good food. It was not normal.
Fresh?
It was not your normal camp food. They
Right.
had like
They have a chef
row
there.
chefs. Yeah.
So breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Ooh, what if you want like
Yeah.
a snack? They had snacks out there all
You
the time.
can purchase
Yeah,
snacks in the
you can
snack
get
shop.
snacks.
Yeah.
Okay, or if you brought your own snacks,
Yeah.
you could eat that too.
Well, here's what I'll say. I did have one expectation going in, and my expectation was I want to leave different than I came in, right? Because I went for 2 reasons: to get closer to my daughter Tiara and get closer to the Lord. So I wanted to do those 2 things. I didn't know what to expect other than that, but we journaled every day, and I went back and I read my journal for the first day because they had you do journaling every morning by yourself.
Love that.
And I said, I want to leave different than I came. And so, what about you? What was the reason why you went?
Well, I went because you had brought it up to me, and I was like, okay, this could be great. Before I leave, I thought it would be a great bonding experience, and I just like sat. Secretly, I did really want to go actually. So when he told me that we probably couldn't, I was a little.
Hold on,
I
guys.
was a little
Hold on, let
bummed.
me say this. Guys, hint. Girls never really tell you what they're really thinking. They just expect you to
Especially-
kind of know.
Especially teenagers.
And so, yeah. So if you're a dad and your daughter, like, they're-
Hint.
Yeah. Okay. go
Well,
ahead.
so I would be sitting in my room watching videos. Like I watched every single video possible about the ranch, and I just like wanted to know what was happening. Like I like to have plans or like to know what's happening, but I also don't like to know too much. So I was glad I like showed certain things and like told you kind of the plans, but not really. Like I like
Yeah.
not knowing, like having no expectations. But yeah, I was really just ready for whatever like the Lord
Yeah.
had, because I had just come off of a camp with my
Yeah,
church.
so you went from camp to camp.
Yeah, and I was like exhausted, but I was like, this is gonna be a different experience. Like I came off of a trip, like a camp that was just really bittersweet because it was the last time
For
being a
high
high
school,
schooler.
yeah.
I mean, I felt very old the whole time, but it was very bittersweet because I had grown the most in my faith at those camps and like met my best friends from those camps. So it was very sad, but I was kind of ready. And so then I knew after coming home, like I would just be going straight on a trip with you. And I was very excited because I knew it would be very different.
Yep.
But I also just didn't know what we were getting ourselves into.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad we did it. And yeah, I didn't have any expectations. I just knew that I was walking with a lot of fear and anxiety, not about the camp, but just like carrying a lot of weight about just like the future and just a lot of unknowns. And so I was just really ready for whatever the Lord wanted to do in my heart and do within both of us.
Yep.
And whatever that looked like, I was ready for it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
which
love
was
that.
which was awesome. And so without giving all the details, and we're not trying to spoil you, because if you try to go or you end up going, we want you to have the full experience
Right, yeah.
because nobody told us anything.
no, yeah.
And so
And we don't want to ruin it. Like
we
don't
definitely
wanna,
don't want to ruin it because I think that's what made it so powerful is because you didn't know going in what was going to happen. But I will say this, they set up an entire week of different activities and different things and teachings, right?
Yeah.
So it is a Christian camp, but you don't have to be a Christian to be there. They don't like make you become a Christian. There were, Jewish people there. There were other people there. So it's not like you have to be a Christian to
Right,
go.
yeah.
But the purpose of the week is for you to get closer to your child and for you to get closer to the Lord. That's the whole thing. And if you don't want to get close to the Lord, that's fine.
And facing some fears.
And overcoming
Yes,
fears.
overcoming fears.
So one of the things we've got these really cool books. So I've got the Parent Adventure Handbook, and
Got the
Tiara has the
student. Oh,
Student Handbook. And
I can't believe you did that flying.
you can't say you can't give things away.
Nothing.
Well, there's pictures. People can see it.
No, they can't see it.
No, can't see it.
They had some really awesome sayings that really spoke to me. One of the things they said is, "You only live life once, but if you live it right, once is enough."
Yeah, that
Oh, I
was
love
really,
that.
really good. They started out the week with that. And the other thing that they said a lot, they actually quizzed us on this, was I heard and I forgot, I
Yep.
saw and I remembered, and I did and I understood, which all make sense. Like, in order to
Ooh.
remember, you have to
Say it
like,
again. Can you say
I
it?
heard and I forgot. We hear things all the time, we forget.
Oh, that's
you know?
my life.
And I saw and I remembered when you see something. You know, when you're a
Right.
visual person, you have to see
That's
and
me,
you
yes.
remember.
True.
And then I did and I understood. So when you do something, you understand it.
Why you did it.
It just makes sense. Like that was like the whole
Theme?
saying for the whole week.
Oh,
well,
okay.
I think that's just something they live by. It's just that's so
I
true.
love that.
Yeah, and because they've been doing this for 45 years, they've really seen the impact and the transformation that has happened in so many people. And it says right here, J.H. Ranch is a remote and isolated place, free of distractions. God speaks to us loud and clear. It's a place where our faith is put to the test. So I was thinking initially going in, like, is this going to be like a boot camp? They're taking my phone. Like,
Yeah.
is this going to be something crazy? But it wasn't. And they said, this can be the most significant week of your life. This week, take risks with God, with others, and with some new adventures. And all of our activities are challenged by choice.
Yeah, I love that they said that. Challenge by choice. So it's not like they're making you do anything. It's you're willing, you're taking the step to challenge yourself, and
Right.
that's your choice to do it, so that it's not like some type of
Yeah,
they're
you're
making
not
you
being
do it and you're
forced.
like,
Right. And half the time, the students or the parents, you're around people that are doing it. It kind of encourages you to do it and get out of
people
your
around you are challenging you
comfortable
anyways.
skin.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, it says here, programs and activities are designed to challenge each person at his or her own level and age. Each participant's investment is simply his or her personal best. Seek to find a life application in each of the day's activities and record it in your daily journal. And going back to what you just said, Joy, was there were some activities, I'm not going to share what they were, that on that first day when they were walking us around the ranch and saying, hey, these are going to be things that we do. I'm like, I'm not doing that. There's no way in the world that I'm doing that. And all week long, leading up to the day of that activity, even the morning, I'm not doing that. And when we got to it, I did that.
Yeah.
And I overcame
Wow.
some big fears.
Yeah.
Was it-
And
And it was by choice.
and it
No
was
one
by
made you do
choice.
How
it.
about
No
you,
one made
T?
you do
Was there
that.
anything that you're like, I'm not doing that?
Well, I saw that and I was like, I want to do that. But then the more I thought about it, like it was like haunting me all week long. And I was like, in the back of my mind, I was like, I don't know if I could do that actually. So when it came to that day, I was like, I have to do it. Like that's going to be the most challenging thing for me this week. And I can't walk away from it and say like, I didn't do that. So that was That was challenging for
Well,
me
I
too.
remember before you guys left, there was one thing I said, please don't do.
Oh yeah, and we didn't
And
do
they
it.
didn't do it. And I was like, thank you. Because I was really worried.
I don't think I would have did that anyway. That wasn't a challenge by choice. That was more
Yeah.
recreational.
I know. And I
Yeah.
was like, no, I could, like, somebody can get hurt.
And if I would have done it, I wouldn't have had Dad do it. I don't know. I saw some people just landing wrong. It was a little scary for
Into
me,
the
so I
lake.
didn't.
It was
I
like a
like
lake
to
activity,
watch.
and
We
it
like
was-
to watch people, but we
Yeah,
didn't
it's
actually
funny.
do it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good.
Yep.
I was happy about that.
And so as the week went along, every day had a theme. So they had every day means something from, so I will say this, and this isn't getting too deep into it, but in order to connect with your kid, they have solo time and then they have time where you connect with your child before breakfast. So you have your one-on-one time with the Lord. You read your Bible, you spend some time in prayer, you write in your journal, and then you come together to discuss what you talked about. And I felt like that was like some of my the time that I liked the most, because it gave us, you and I, time to just really be vulnerable, kind of share some things with each other. And you never force it. That's the thing too, is sometimes parents, like I know you and I went in having a lot better relationship than a lot of people had with their parent.
Yeah.
Right. Like Tiara and I realized that, we've had a good relationship, but there were some pieces that were missing to where, when you're busy and you have a lot going on, that, you can draw some conclusions, you can feel a certain way and just kind of have some distance. And I felt like, we want to resolve these things before we go to have Tiara go to college. And so that was a big deal for me, but you don't go in like pushing what you want or preaching what you want. They even say, get out of the way and let God kind of work in the relationship. And so, so I really enjoyed our one-on-one time. And then we just kind of went through the day doing activities, and then they separated the dads for a teaching and a lesson, and then the kids, for a teaching and a lesson. And then we would come together for something called Big Top, which is like an evening teaching session with worship
Every day?
every
Yeah.
day.
Wow.
Oh, those were so
Which
good.
was really,
oh my gosh.
yeah, which was really, really awesome.
They have like special speakers come in and speak, or
Well,
just
it's just people that are all like
a part of
working.
the,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And so I would have to say this, that every day I felt closer to God and every day I felt closer to Tiara. And so I saw like, wow, this is amazing. And I think for me, one of the big things is not having access to our phones.
Yeah, that was huge. I'm so glad that it was set up that way because
Well, that was
And you
also by
actually
choice
had,
too, though.
I was going to say, you said
Yeah.
some people were on it taking photos
Well, they
and
don't
stuff.
they don't like take your phones from you, but they say
leave it in the room or something.
this should be a distraction-free
encouragement,
week,
yeah.
and you should put your phones away. So there were still people who had Verizon, because I think Verizon was the only one that could connect. So like even in my cabin, there were still some dads like checking emails, calling home, all of that stuff.
Oh, so
and
T-Mobile did not have access up there.
no, but I'm,
And I'm so
But I'm
glad,
glad
yeah.
they didn't, because I really, truly, once I got there, wanted to unplug.
yeah, and we expected that too. We were already
Yeah.
ready.
We were already ready
prepared
for that,
yeah.
and knew that we weren't going to have that. And and here's the other thing: there were a lot of the girls and even dads, like all the activities, taking pictures and video. We didn't do that. Like
And they have a photographer there that takes
they
photos.
do have
Yeah.
a photographer that takes stuff. But I wanted to truly feel like, what does it feel like to be unplugged again? Because there was a time with our generation, Joy, that we didn't have technology.
Right.
We didn't. I mean, I remember when text messages first came out. I remember when cell phones first came out. I remember when
Doing
social media.
codes. Doing codes on phones because that was the way.
Oh yeah, yeah. Remember when cell phones came out? Whereas this generation, all they know is technology.
Right.
So there was a difference, and I think that we're all so consumed with our phones and social media that it just felt good to just unplug. And I just want to say I appreciate you, Joy, because leaving. Our business is growing right now. We've got like 10 agents on our team. We've got agents in our downline. We have a ton of clients. And for me to step away from all of that, I would have never been able to do that if it wasn't for you and for Juan and for Nina and our team. And so Joy was like, I got this. Everybody's like, I got this. So I could unplug and never worried, never had anxiety, never was concerned like what's happening back home. Like I was able to unplug 100% and be good.
Yeah.
How'd you handle that while I was gone?
Well, I just figured it out. I just really took the reins of handling our transaction coordinator and just really teaching her more and getting up at different times of the night to because she's in the Philippines, so it's like different time zone.
Yep.
And we just do it, I guess.
Yeah.
Because we used to do that
before.
Where it was, I don't know.
Yeah.
You just do it wherever there's a need. You just fill it.
Yeah.
Wherever
And I just knew it was
questions,
going to be
you just
good.
answer.
Everything was taken
Well,
care
though
of.
you called me Sunday. What's the last phone call you had to me?
Oh, Sunday morning.
He called
because there was
me.
3 things that I forgot to do. So they allowed me to connect
He says,
to their
"Oh, you
Wi-Fi.
have a." Yes, he called me and said, "I have a 30-minute call." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you called me." Like I was like, and I'm like, "Well, where's Tiara? Why didn't you call me?" It's like I thought she has a 30-minute call too.
No.
So I waited for Tiara. I'm like, "No, she didn't call." I'm like, "Okay, maybe she didn't get that chance to call."
There was 3 things that I forgot to do that I knew would be on my mind.
Yeah.
That were very important. One was a transaction. I needed you to email me something, and there was one other thing, and that was it. And once that call was over, cell phone was turned off, went in my bag,
totally
and
gone.
never pulled out for the whole week.
And I kept looking at my phone like, "Was he gonna text me? Oh wait, no, he can't text."
That's funny.
But no, it was good. It was good for us. It was good for us back at home for me and the boys. And I know it was great for you guys. Couldn't wait. And then I get a text from somebody from the ranch, from JH Ranch. And they were like, "Hey, I just wanted to make sure you were able to send in a couple of letters to Justin." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know he's supposed to have some too." We knew Tiara needed some, but the parents are supposed to have some too. And then they were like, "Oh, by the way, here's the link for photos." Cause I didn't know, I didn't set up the account, Justin. So I didn't even know the password or any way to get into it. And they send you a link of the photos and activities from each day. So whatever the photographer, videographer, they have it all in, folders and stuff. And
So you got to see some photos.
yeah,
and some
it was like,
videos of
oh,
us.
I was like, they're like, you look, one of the photos, you look like a big kid at camp. You had your hands like really raised, like really into like what was happening.
I was into
And
it.
I was like, oh, he's like really enjoying it.
Dad
Like,
was
and
in his
Tiara-
element. I never seen him like that before.
I know.
It was so funny.
Yeah.
Well, you took the kids to camps a couple of times when they were younger.
Yeah, but they wouldn't have remembered
They,
it like that.
they don't remember as much, but I just was like so happy. It made my heart so happy to see photos of you guys.
Yeah.
It was really nice.
Well, for me, I would say that week was a week of like healing and reconciliation and just a lot of deep stuff that was done in me. I cried more that week than I've ever cried.
Tiara
I
was
think.
like, "Mom, Dad cried so much." I was like, "Get it together."
It was a lot.
But crying is
It's
a lot
good,
of
though.
it's healing
It's
actually. It's healing when you cry, and so I always encourage that.
Well, we
It
cried a
doesn't
lot
mean,
together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Yeah, we
did.
did cry a lot together, and it's good, And so we left
I
in
love
1
that.
week. We left, and Tiara and I, as we were transitioning to go home, we were obviously sad because the week was just
They didn't want to leave.
incredible.
No, and I didn't want to open my phone. We were
Yeah.
just ready. We just wanted to stay in that.
Yeah, we wanted to stay in that
No.
element, and it was hard because you know that you have to go home and you have to kind of plug back in. And so the one word I think that describes that week, and that's what we heard all week, was just transformational. It was a transformational week. You can't really put words to it. It's hard to describe it. I know we're leaving a lot of details out because you got to experience
Yeah,
it.
right.
And I'll say this, I would have paid $10,000 for that trip. You can't put a price tag on growing close to your kid and to the Lord and kind of getting recentered, refocused, reestablished. That unplugging for that week really put a lot of things in perspective for me. It helped me to really see things differently so that when we did leave, how we could do things different. And I think it's important that we all experience that unplug. Even if you can't go to a ranch, unplug somewhere, unplug, during dinner, unplug for a day of the week, unplug for a week of the year, go on vacation, unplug and be present. And so we transitioned. We drove back to.
Wait, this is it? We're going
Oh,
to the end?
no, keep going.
Anything else? No, anything else you want to say from like?
Well, I mean, we
anything
can't give a lot of details.
Yeah, I know. That's
Anything else you
true.
want to share?
Yeah.
T?
What did you want to share?
Well,
I do want to share something. But go ahead.
Okay, yeah.
No, go ahead.
Well, the first night, I can't give like the topic, but basically one of the questions they challenged us with was like, if you could ask God for anything, what is it that you would want him to do for you like this week? And that's like a heavy question. It's like, well, Lord, like what do I need from you? Or like, what is it that I want to see changed this week? Because obviously he's gonna do work this week, but what exactly is it that I'm believing for? So I knew again, like I mentioned earlier, I was just carrying a lot of fear and anxiety, just like feeling like I had to figure everything out on my own and just like know the answers and details to everything. And so going into the week, I was like, Lord, I just want to surrender it all to you. Like, I want to be filled with your boldness and confidence. Like, I'm surrounded by a bunch of girls I don't know, but I feel like you could definitely use me in these girls' lives. Like, we all have different stories and walking with different things. And so my biggest prayer was just that, Lord, take all the fear and anxiety away and replace it with boldness and confidence. And so that night there was like, hay barrel. What are they called? The hay barrels. And so I went down there.
The altar was hay barrels.
Oh, wow. And so I went down there and I just like prayed, like, Lord, like just take it all away. And then the crew, we got to mention the crew. The crew is amazing. All these college kids are just so excited to be there. Like, they're truly filled with the joy of the Lord. And they're
the ones that really run the camp.
Yeah.
They're not the leaders of it, but they're the ones doing all the activities, doing all the serving, everything.
Making a big sacrifice. Like, they leave college, go straight there, and they only have like a week with their family before they go back. So that's a huge sacrifice. And
they don't get paid to do it.
No.
It's all volunteer work.
Yeah, they have such a heart. Like, it's just of their willingness to do it. And so they were just awesome. Always wanted to get to know us. Like, what's your story? Like, how did you hear about us? Just tell us about yourself. And so they were just awesome. And I loved every single person I came in contact with. They were just so like intentional, wanted to hear from you. And so when I sat at the altar and just like prayed, like this girl came up to me and she was like, what are you believing for this week? Like, what is it? How can I pray for you? Like, so she sat there and prayed, and I explained about like my fears and stuff. And she just sat there and she was like, do you believe like the Lord can free you of this tonight? And like, do you believe that he can give you the confidence and everything that you're needing? Like, everything you're longing for, like he can do this for you. And I was like, yeah, I believe that. And so she didn't know who I was. I didn't know who she was. Like, it was the first day, and she like prayed over me, and it was just like I felt such like freedom. And the whole week I just felt so much boldness and confidence. Like, I was speaking things over these girls that I had never met, and the Lord just gave me the words to speak, and I had like no fear the whole week. Like, the thing that I thought I was going to have fear over, like, I just like was like, I'm doing it. Like, I'm doing all these things, and
even second think it.
Yeah, and I had no time to fear, and it was just awesome. So that's
and the last day you got on stage in front of all the people and shared a testimony, which you were afraid to do, and I had to like
did not want to do
really urge her to do it, and she did it
because I knew I wanted to. Like, I needed to do that. I wanted to do that, and I was like, what I just prayed over for the Lord to remove fear and anxiety. Like, if I don't go up there, that fear, like, that's taking over me, and that's like coming over me again after I just prayed for confidence and boldness. So I was like, nope, I'm going up. The Lord has given me confidence. He's given me the words to speak, and I'm not letting fear like have a hold on me. So that's why I knew I had to do that.
Took her a couple of minutes, but she did it.
Yeah, Dad saw me like shaking.
I know. I
he
hate
saw me
that
like
feeling.
fidgeting. He was like, what, like you had to go up there. Like,
takes a lot. It takes a lot for people like us to like get on a stage and talk or share in front of people, because it's not natural for us to do that. Like it's natural. It's like you can go up there no problem and just talk for 30 minutes.
But it's not always no problem, because most people don't know that I get nervous before I speak.
Oh,
every time.
But like,
but I've done it so much that I do it because I know the impact it's going to make. So I think it's just human nature.
Yeah.
And I come to realize, actually, it takes a lot for people that go on stage and talk, and pastors and all. I think Pastor Pete talked about that, and he gets nervous and anxious before he gets on stage, and it affects like a lot of people. I don't realize it now that I think about it.
What's the number one fear people have? The number one fear, even more than dying, is public speaking.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
I didn't know that.
Wow.
It's crazy. Yeah, because people are like deathly afraid to get in front of people and talk. And you can overcome that, which I did,
Right.
And it's just like getting up there. Then it's like fine, I feel
Yeah,
like.
once you're up there.
But it's just getting the courage to stand up there, like, and make yourself do it, like by choice. Like, that was my choice. No one made me do that.
Challenge
I had to
by
do that.
choice.
Yeah.
Right. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
One of the other things too that I think was pretty awesome was everybody was there for the same reason. And so by night 2, I would say night 2, because there were 7 of us total, me and 6 other dads. So it was all the dads of the daughters that Tiara was with. So like we were a team. We were team 8. We were a group of 14, 7 dads, 7 daughters, and we got the nice cabins because our girls were the oldest girls. So they had brand new remodeled cabins, like with granite counters, clean toilet, like not your typical camp scenario at all. It was really nice. So because they were the older daughters, those were prepared for the older daughters. So then the older dads got the cabin next door. And so 7 dads, 7 daughters, and we were in the same group. And so every night there was a debrief, right? It was called a huddle, where the dads would huddle in the cabin on the floor, and the kids would, daughters would huddle in their cabin with their team leader. And by night 2, we were just so connected, right? We just felt so connected to each other, the men, because we were in a vulnerable place. We're experiencing these challenges together. We're experiencing wanting to grow closer to our daughters together and to the Lord. And every night we would talk about that, and we would really open up and be vulnerable for each other and pray for each other. And by the end of the week, I'm like, these are my brothers. Like, I want to stay connected to these guys forever. And it made me realize that I'm missing that authentic, real connection with a lot of men. I mean, I have a couple of men that I'm connected with like that, but it was like, I want this in my life. And it was awesome because we really just encouraged each other, prayed for each other, and just felt like within a couple of days we really knew each other.
Wow.
Yeah. What about you, T?
Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, it's hard to like know people. Like, it's really hard to like get on a deep level when you just meet people. But like, we all, after the first night, we all were just like sharing everything, and we were all just encouraging each other. And I felt like those were my sisters too, and I had just met them, and that's hard for me to do. Like, I like a close knit circle, and it takes me a while to like trust people, to like share my life and things I'm struggling with. And so it just had to be one person starting to be vulnerable, and then everybody else, the shell would be cracked. And I felt like those were all new sisters in Christ. I didn't want to leave them. I miss them all right now, and it's just cool that we can stay in touch and hopefully see each other next summer. Like, I know I'm already seeing some girls next summer because I'm going again for 2 weeks. So that's already confirmed. That place is so special. I just had to go back. So
can you have like a visitor? Like, I come visit you while you're gone for 2 weeks?
So.
Could I come like
Probably
visit?
not.
Or maybe,
No.
Oh, you didn't know
Not
I
for the
signed
2
up to
weeks.
help.
Yeah. Yeah. So the way that it works is they have, it's called Second Wind, where
Ooh, a second.
as long as you're in
I like
10th
that.
grade or higher,
Second wind of the Lord.
you can go back and spend 2 weeks without a parent.
Unplugged 2
Unplugged
weeks.
for
I want to
2
come
weeks.
cook. Can I come like serve and like give you
No.
You
food?
did not go to culinary school.
Yeah. So Tiara's going
like
back.
cut fruit
but
up.
what's also cool is they have a marriage retreat, Scott River Lodge, for married couples that Joy and
Next
I are
year?
looking into to go to next year.
Well, I can only go when it's the hot season. I don't want to do that cold
They
stuff.
don't have cold seasons.
You said there's one in Colorado or something.
No, I didn't.
Somewhere. It's
no.
mountains.
It's all in the mountains. It's the same
Yeah,
spot.
but they have a video of people they have an email that says bring your warm clothes and all that. Like,
Well,
what
because
is-
it gets
That's
cold at
something
night.
else. Yeah,
no,
no,
because it
that's
gets
something
cold at
else.
night. It's 100 during the day and it's like 50 overnight. It's pretty interesting. So no, there's nothing in the winter. There's no snow. There's nothing
no
like
climbing
that.
the mountains, snow mountains.
I don't think so.
I don't want to do
Oh,
that.
Mount
So they have
Shasta.
Mount Shasta, a huge mountain where it's by. But again, no, So
I
they
wanna
have
be
a
in the
they have a
heat.
marriage one, but then they also have like these different things. So where like Tiara, after she goes to college, could come back as a crew member and volunteer and spend the whole summer there. Which Tiara and I day one were like, oh yeah, we could definitely.
I could totally see you
here.
doing that.
No, I've been wanting to like work at a camp or like do something like serve sometime during my summer, and I haven't known where, like what kind of camp, and I found that place, and I'm like, this is the place I want to serve.
And there were people there that have been like, this is my 20th year here at the ranch.
Holy
Like
cow.
everybody, once they've gone, they keep coming back. I mean,
Yeah,
there was
right.
these super successful, high level successful business people who like sold their business or retired and now work for the ranch
I
on
love
staff.
that.
Yeah.
I could totally do that.
And
like-
it's so
I could see us
generational
doing
too,
that,
like
Justin.
generations.
And it's like, so for 45 years, this ranch has been there. And just to give you guys the story of how the ranch even came about was Gene Johnston.
Let them explain it. You
No,
guys
he
got to
wants-
go to get the story. Because we didn't know the
He
story
wants to
until we
give us-
got there either.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I feel
yeah.
like I
All
know
right,
it's a
you
good
gotta
story,
go.
but maybe you just gotta go.
You
They'll
gotta
explain
go.
it to you.
I can't explain it. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
no.
Maybe we can do like and I'm just saying this right now. I'm just letting you know, like this is something that I actually had in my heart, and I'd love to like have people get their names in like a pot and like sponsor a sponsor.
Yeah, there is. So so if
The
somebody,
giving tree.
Yeah.
yeah,
They do
so
that.
they
I
do
wanna
have
do
a,
that.
They
They
do
do
have a
that.
giving tree for those of you guys that are like, oh my gosh, that sounds like something I would really love, but I can't afford it. They have this program called Giving Tree where people sponsor so you can get scholarship money to go to the ranch. And you can go right to their website. I think it's just jhranch.com.
But I want to have our own giving branch.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's give you something.
Because if we tell them to go there and they don't get chosen, I want to be able to know that we sponsored,
I think you can direct your money to where you want it. I think.
Oh.
But we can look into that.
Okay.
But here's another one though. Okay. So there's another part, right? It's called the Outback, the JH Outback. So let's just say you're like, wow, I don't know if I could do a whole week right now, or I can't afford that, but I want to experience the JH, what we're talking about. They have these Outbacks called the JH Outback, and I think there's 20 of them.
And they're still expanding. They're always
around the country and around the world. So
like shorter
I think it's just
amount of
called
days.
jhoutback.com, where you can go to their website and look for an Outback in your local area or close to you. It's a 3-day event versus a whole week. It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you're getting the same teaching. You're getting some of the same stuff, but just not a lot of the activities that they have on the ranch. And I guess this is how a lot of people are introduced to JH is through these Outbacks.
Like smaller. Okay.
And here's the great news. Next month in September, they're actually opening Grand Rapids here in Michigan.
That's wild.
And we got to go to that.
Yeah, you guys
Yeah,
should.
because you got to experience it because you've
You
never
should go.
experienced
No, I
it.
don't want to do the Outback. I want to go all the way.
Well, you will go
You
all the
can't.
way.
I don't want to go all the way.
But you can't really go all the way
should.
I want
because
to
you
do
don't
the
have any
marriage
more
one
kids.
first.
Well, I think you should do probably the Outback because
Okay.
it's in September.
But we got to have some people do it with us.
Yeah,
like
we do.
Ryan will go, like whoever's out in Grand Rapids.
Yeah, or anybody.
Be a good
So
way to get plugged in.
So we'll say this and we'll wrap it up with this. If you want to know more about JH, or you want to know about the Outback or the marriage retreat, or you just have some questions, reach out to me, reach out to Tiara. You can reach out to Joy, but she didn't experience it, but she'll be helpful.
But I'll be like, let's go.
And if you want to learn more about the sponsorship or potentially helping somebody, to go, reach out to us. We would love. I believe every parent and child should experience this week. This week was so transformational. It was the best week of my life, and I left a changed person.
Tiara.
Word. I agree. Everything you said.
Word, I agree.
Word.
Yep.
Oh.
Anything else?
Sing
I
that.
will say this.
Oh.
As we left, so we'll end it with this. As we left, we decided to stay. Everybody pretty much flew home that Saturday. So we woke up Saturday morning, and then everybody was leaving. They were going to drive back to Oregon or drive back to Sacramento and fly home. Tiara and I decided to stay one day in Sacramento and then fly home on Sunday. And we got to the hotel, and it was just so weird. We're like, what are we supposed to do now?
Yeah. It was.
Because we didn't want to get on our phones and fill this downtime with being on
Justin
the
was like
phone.
not ready to leave to the point where Tiara had to find him. He was like on the mountain praying Saturday morning, and he wasn't even packed, ready to go.
No, I wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
didn't wanna
We
leave.
did not
I heard
want to
that
leave.
Tiara
We were the
had to help
last
you
ones,
pack.
pretty
We
much.
were
Yeah,
the
he was
last
the
ones
last
to
one on the
leave.
cabin. Tiara comes in there.
We
Dad,
walk in
you
the
gotta
cabin,
pack.
and I'm the only one that's still in there. Everybody's already gone, and she's like, "Dad, did you pack?" I'm like, "Nope." So Tiara helped me pack.
There's
all my
Tiara
stuff.
packing it all up
Like,
for
what are you
Dad.
doing?
But I didn't want to leave because
No,
it was
me
just an amazing thing. But obviously, we had to come home.
Yeah. Back
And-
to reality.
Yep. And I will say this: what's cool is to keep it going. You make a commitment before you leave to do 6 weeks of journaling, Bible study, and accountability. So Tiara and I have been on this 6-week journey of reading every day the Bible, connecting with each other, and
Love
just
that.
staying plugged in. There's also a pledge that we took for technology where they say, come off of technology 1 hour a day, 1 day per week, and 1 week per year. And
Ooh.
just unplug and reset so you can really have that mindset of it's okay to think, right? Like you want to be able to think and, stay in your mindset and not just always be distracted.
Yeah. And not just feel like you have to be at a place like that to unplug. Like you can incorporate that
You
in
can
your
unplug
life.
at
Like,
home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when we go to Montreal.
Yeah.
Yep. Any final words or anything you want to share, Tiara? Before
We
you
got to go to JH. And oh my gosh, this is my last time
Yep.
before
Heading to college.
Yeah, before
Couple
I get into
weeks.
college. Who knows when I'll be back? But it's
What do
been
you mean?
fun.
Last time on the podcast? No.
No, before I go to college,
I know,
You'll
you're
have
right,
to
yeah.
come back, fly me out.
But we will
like-
say this.
Well, for the holidays, you'll be home and we can record.
But we will say this.
I want to hear about your experience in college.
Hopefully in the near future, be on the lookout for the Tiara Ford podcast.
Ooh.
I won't name it that.
Well, I know it's not going to be called that,
Well, maybe,
but you want to have a podcast.
Something, I can see that something along the lines of organic something.
organic.
I I feel like you're very organic.
Well, either way, Tiara is going to have a podcast in the
yeah.
future because she has a voice. She's got a lot of wisdom.
She's bold now.
She's got a lot to share.
She's tearing down the walls.
She's got a lot to share, especially with the young
Extra
ladies
bold.
of this generation where we believe God's going to use you in a big way.
Exciting.
All right.
All right.
Good.
That
Ready.
was
We're
it.
ready.
That's
We're ready.
it.
Go to JH Ranch.
Go to
Here's
JH
the
Don't be
Ranch.
disappointed.
Show them the pens. JH Ranch.
This is not paid, but we gotta
And not
plug
just
'em.
go, but like look up the Outback, look up the marriage, look up all the information, and reach out to us. We definitely would love to chat with you about it. And so, guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode here of the Real Raw and Uncut podcast. Hopefully, you heard some stuff today that inspires you, gets you thinking. Sorry we kept you hanging there on the cliff without telling you all the details, but you definitely 100% have to experience it. Before we wrap up today, we do want to remind you that this episode is brought to you by our friends over at Next Door Lending. Next Door Lending is just not a sponsor of our show. Next Door Lending is our preferred lender for the Justin Ford real estate team. This is who we entrust with all of our buyers. They have over 1,000 five-star reviews, a perfect A+ Better Business Bureau rating, and I wouldn't trust anybody else to handle and work with our clients. And so if you're a buyer and you're looking to get pre-approved and purchase a home this year, call my friends over at Next Door Lending. If you own a home and you're looking to refinance, take some cash out, call our friends over at Next Door Lending. And if you're a real estate agent looking to team up with a great mortgage company, call our friends over at Next Door Lending today at 888-885-3667 or visit their website at nextdoorlending.com. Joy, any final words?
I am just so happy that you guys did this. And so, yes, I just want to leave. I don't have any final words. I just bless you.
Bless you.
I bless the people.
Absolutely.
Pray blessings over them.
Amen. Two things we always like to leave you with. Number one, it's not how you start. What matters is how you finish. And number two, with God,
all things are possible.
God bless you guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.